Hi, I'm Shelley. I'm a neurodevelopment practitioner, which means that I am able to identify retained primitive reflexes in a child or an adult and offer simple rhythmic movements that you do at home in order to integrate these reflexes. Let me tell you a little bit about retained primitive reflexes. This absolutely blew my mind as a parent, as a teacher, as a tutor, having worked with many children with ADHD and autism and never having heard about these. So what are primitive reflexes? Primitive reflexes are those movements that our babies make, those responses to the environment or what's going on in their body. They are not controlled, they are not planned out, they just happen. You know when your baby wraps their whole hand around your fingers, or when they startle and their arms and their legs go out and then they bring them in again. Those are primitive reflexes. Over a period of a few months or at most a couple of years, these reflexes, these movement patterns should integrate into the central nervous system. Those movements should disappear as a baby and a young child learns to control their movements more easily. If these reflexes are not integrated, if they hang around and those movement patterns persist and they still have those same responses to the environment, then they are going to hamper them gaining more controlled movement of their body. So if you see that your child is unable to sit still in a chair, their attention span is really poor, they may struggle to be coordinated, they may struggle with balance, they may not be able to copy from the board, they may lay their head on their arms. All of these things may be because there are some primitive reflexes that are retained. And if we are able to get rid of those movement patterns, if we're able to integrate those reflexes, then the more mature body movements are able to come out and our child is more able then to concentrate, to pay attention, to copy from the board, to read, to write, all those higher level learning skills. The way that I work is that I would speak to you as the parent. I would ask you some questions around pregnancy, birth, infant, what your baby was doing. This is absolutely no judgment on parents. We are all doing the very best that we can. If your child still has retained primitive reflexes, there may be a really valid reason why they didn't have the opportunity to integrate that reflex or their body and brain wasn't ready for it. So what we are looking to do is go, this is what we're dealing with, this is what we can do about it. So I would talk to you as the parent. I would then do a physical assessment with your child, which would involve looking at certain movements that they make, and then I would give you some movements that you are able to do, some simple rhythmic movements that your child will enjoy, that will be calming for your child, and that you are able to do it with them at home. When you do these on a regular basis and this becomes part of your daily routine, these movements will help your child's central nervous system to develop, to form new connections between brain and body, help these primitive reflexes to integrate and those more developed and mature connections to form. If you recognize any of these behaviors in your child or you're concerned about retained primitive reflexes, you can book a 30-minute free call with me and we can chat through some things. We can see whether an assessment and a movement program would be helpful for your child. If you'd like to find out more before you do that, you can access my free recorded webinar, which goes into a lot more detail about how these primitive reflexes show up and the things that we can do to support our child with them.